evening, everyone.
Evening.
Give it a second.
Is the mic on?
Right? Good evening. I'm Irma Alvarte, Tacoma Park Assistant City Clerk. Welcome to the 2022 Nominating Caucus. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Let's start over. Good evening. I'm Irma Alvarte, Tacoma Park Assistant City Clerk. Welcome to the 2022 Nominating Caucus. We're here tonight to nominate candidates for mayor and city council in the city election of November 8th, 2022. The mayor and city council members elected this year will serve two-year terms beginning November 21st, 2022. We will begin the nomination in a few minutes, but first I have some introductions and some announcements. So tonight to my left, we have Trevor Perry Gillis. Giles, sorry. Ben Bellows. Outside checking in, we have Timothy Andrick and John Quinn. If you plan to nominate this evening, please step outside the doors. There's a check-in table. Fill out a card with your name, address, and ward. Yes, please. So I'll now turn it over to Trevor.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming. This is great. Let me review the rules for the meeting tonight. Although this meeting is open to the public, participation is limited to eligible voters in the city of Tacoma Park. If you are nominating or seconding the nomination of a candidate for mayor, you must be a registered voter at an address in the city of Tacoma Park. If you are nominating or seconding the nomination of a candidate for city council, you must be a registered voter at an address in their ward. If you plan to place in nomination a name or second a nomination of a candidate, you should have an index card, which they give you out at the registration desk, which will indicate that you are eligible to participate in the caucus. If you don't have an index card, now's a good time to go to the check-in table outside and ask for one. You should write your name, address, and ward on the card, and when I call for nominations, you can approach the podium. Before you speak, you can give your index card to Mr. Bellows here and use the microphone over at the podium to speak so that your statements are heard. At the beginning of your statement, please state your full name and the ward for the record. And finally, remarks are limited to 3 minutes. There will be a countdown timer on the screens. So there'll be one there. We'll all see them up on the screens there. We can all boo and hiss when you go over your time. Back to Irma.
So next on the agenda is the selection of a caucus secretary. The city charter requires that you elect a resident to serve as secretary of the meeting who will make a record of the nominations and file the records with me. Ben Bellows of Ward 3 is willing to serve as secretary for tonight's caucus. Is there any objection to Mr. Bellows serving as secretary? If not, may I hear a motion to elect Mr. Bellows as secretary? Is there a second? Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so Mr. Bellows has been selected to serve as secretary for tonight's proceedings.
The order of nominations that will take place is as follows. We'll begin with nominations for city council, and they'll take place in the following order. Guess what? It's pretty simple. Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 3, Ward 4, Ward 5, and Ward 6. Nominations for the office of mayor will be taken after council nominations. Any questions before we begin? All right, let's get started. Ward 1. Nominations are now in order for one council member from Ward 1. Do I hear a nomination for the office of council member from Ward 1? Please come up to the podium. Do you have the index card? Great. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, hello. My name is Mark Gordon. I live on Hancock Avenue in Ward 1. I've lived there over 15 years. I'm a neighbor to Mr. Mark Sherman, and I believe that he would be a good council member because we share the same concern over the development of the Tacoma Junction and also renters' rights. Thank you.
Are there any seconds to the nomination of Mark Sherman for council member from Ward 1? Now taking seconds. Okay.
Second, I second the nomination of Mark Sherman for Ward 1 council member.
Can you hear him?
We can.
Yes. French.
Mr. French, do you want to give a statement?
Yeah, do you want to make a statement?
No, I'll let Mark speak for himself. He'll be make a great council member, and I appreciate him running for this elective office.
And we appreciate your economy of expression.
Thanks. My name is Mark. I feel very fortunate to have this opportunity to represent Ward 1, which, as you know, has slightly different boundaries than last time around. I used to live in Ward 3, but I've been redistricted or rewarded, you might say, now in the district that runs from my building, which is on Hancock Avenue and Lee, 67 units in a post-war garden-style apartment complex that is an example of the best of American architecture, apartments with real hardwood floors, real plaster walls, lots of windows for natural ventilation. This is how buildings used to be. It's not how apartments are built anymore. And those buildings are really worthy of preservation, just as much as any Victorian home from the 1890s. I also care about pedestrian rights and transit issues as someone who does not own a car. Bus schedules, bus benches, and the preservation of the green space at the Tacoma Metro, which I fought hard on 15 years ago. Finally, as my neighbor Mr. Gordon spoke, I do want to see Tacoma Junction kept as a non-gentrified part of town. It's 1 block from where I live. It's part of what makes the neighborhood walkable. And the grocery store at the center of that junction needs the open-air parking lot next to it for its deliveries. I was part of that fight, and I'll make sure that the council backs off of the, I'm very sorry to say, ill-fated attempt to gentrify that part of town. Thank you so much.
Does anyone else wish to second the nomination of Mark Sherman? Hearing none, are there any other nominations for the office of council member from Ward 1? Uh-oh. We have somebody on the Zoom, Josephine Hoagie.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, my name is Joe Hoagie, and I've lived in Ward 1 in Tacoma Park for 40 years. And I've been a community volunteer during that time, mostly as a Girl Scout leader and a Sunday school teacher at Tacoma Park Presbyterian Church. I have known Shayna Fulcher for 10 years and have worked with her extensively, especially when she was the head of our Girl Scout leader team. I really learned to appreciate her outstanding leadership skills, her ability to facilitate a meeting gracefully, calmly, and with inclusiveness, even with a baby in her arms. She has the invaluable ability to deal with two sides of an issue in a calm and thoughtful way. She is dependable and creative and committed to recognizing the needs of this community. In summary, I nominate Shayna Fulcher for City Council.
Thank you. Shayna Fulcher has been nominated for council member from Ward 1. Is there a second? Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sila Colavito. I live on Willow. I've been living here for 10 years. I'm 16. And I go to Blair High School. I'm here representing the youth of the community. I've known Shayna for a long time. She's my Girl Scout troop leader. And she's also a really amazing mother of 4. I know that she is very committed to the needs of the community, and she understands that compromise is the only way that we're going to fix the problems in our community. And I think that I completely agree with Joe. I think that her leadership skills are unmatched, and I know that she is going to do a great job as a leader. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other seconds for Shayna Fulcher? Yeah,
Yes.
please. Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Melissa Stone, and I am a neighbor. I live just across the street from Shayna Fulcher. And I've lived in Tacoma Park since 1991. I started out as a renter, and then later I bought the house that I was renting from the owner. So I'm one of those examples that many people in Tacoma Park would like to replicate in terms of home ownership. Nevertheless, Shayna has been my neighbor for nearly 10 years. She's been in Tacoma Park for much longer than that. As a neighbor, I can attest that she is a lovely neighbor. She's very participatory. She's very friendly. She's very supportive. If I'm any example of how helpful Shayna can be, I think she thrives on being helpful. I'll give you an example. I had a situation about a year ago, actually it is just a year ago, where I had a tree fall from my property onto her property. The line between our property wasn't very well distinguished at that time, but rather than wait around and find out exactly who owned what part of the tree, she just chopped up the part that needed to be chopped up. She just dealt with it. And that is how Shayna is about so many things. When something needs to be dealt with, she just handles it. And that's the kind of city council person I would like in Ward 1, to be honest with you. In addition, she shows exceptional leadership, not only as a neighbor, that I can see her because I live on the same street, but she's constantly commenting and being very helpful on the listserv, if anybody here is on the Penn listserv, also on the Buy Nothing site on Facebook, where people share things. She's been very supportive to migrants. And this country is having a migrant crisis. Thank goodness for people like Shayna Fulcher addressing some of the migrant problems here. She's also very supportive not only to children but to animals. She's very attentive to the green space, to sustainable development, to looking at land use issues in ways that are helpful to everyone. And at the same time, she's also very energy efficient and conscious, and has been really supportive about my efforts to go more green, and as well as learning more, educating herself as new technologies come around. And I think that Ward 1 would benefit tremendously if Shayna Fulcher could be our leader. Thank you so much.
Are there any other seconds for Shayna Fulcher or council member from Ward 1? Hearing none, are there any other nominations for council members from Ward 1?
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Good evening, my name is Julie Finnegan. I live on New York Avenue in Ward 1 in Tacoma Park, and it's my pleasure this evening to nominate Elizabeth Forbes Wallace to serve as council member for Ward 1. Elizabeth brings a lifetime of experience to the council if she were elected to serve. Namely, she founded and ran her own business for over 20 years, providing travel support services for the embassies here in Washington, D.C. And she oversaw all aspects of running the business, from permitting to IT, advertising, designing facilities, training staff. Her business processed over 10,000 passports and visas every year. And as part of this business, she worked with people of diverse cultures from all over the world, and with her staff, people of a range of age groups. When I met with Elizabeth to discuss her interest in running with City Council, one thing that really impressed me personally was how long she spent listening to me. She really wanted to hear what I loved about Tacoma Park and things that I thought maybe could be better in Tacoma Park. And I think she has a lot of really interesting ideas, which hopefully you'll hear from her if she's nominated, about how to hear from all the residents in Ward 1. And the other thing that really impressed me about Elizabeth is her ability to think across boundaries. Much of Ward 1 and also Tacoma Park abuts against either Silver Spring or Washington, D.C., and matters that impact those jurisdictions also impact residents of Tacoma Park. And I think Elizabeth sees that really well and wants to work across those boundaries. As well, she's interested in working with all the other wards in Tacoma Park to make the city a better place for everyone. So for all these reasons, I support Elizabeth's nomination to be a candidate for council for Ward 1. Thank you.
Elizabeth F. Wallace has been nominated for council member from Ward 1. Is there a second to this nomination?
Good evening. My name is Kathleen Dorman. I live on Cleveland Avenue in Ward 1, and I've lived there for 42 years. I second Julie's nomination. I also met Elizabeth in a memoir writing class we took together. Although she has not previously served in city government, she's been active in city and county affairs. I think she would bring some unique perspectives to the council. She has not only lived in Tacoma Park, but worked in several of our downtown businesses and learned of their needs and the needs of the people who work in them. For 7 years, she has offered affordable housing to international interns by hosting them in her home through Airbnb. She has been interested for some time in the increasingly critical issue of affordable housing in this area. She has testified before the City Council, the Zoning Board, and the County Council on how Airbnbs can be incorporated into our communities in a way that's safe for guests, neighbors, and owners. Concerned about relations between the city police and residents, she served for 2 years on the Citizens Advisory Board. To promote intercultural understanding among the city's youth, she created and produced 2 week-long culture camps in collaboration with the city's rec department and the embassies of Mali and Korea. Elizabeth is she worked with Tacoma Park Middle School and 3 other schools, taking the children out of the community by producing the I'm a Storyteller show in the planetarium at the National Air and Space Museum. Elizabeth is willing to put in the work and the time required of a city council member. In both her business and her varied life experiences, she has been an innovator and problem solver, not by trying to do everything herself, but by reaching out to other people and organizations to bring them together, to nurture young people, to improve relations between the police and the community, to increase cultural understanding, and to address challenging problems in the life of our community. Thank you.
Are there other seconds to the nomination of Elizabeth Wallace to council member for Ward 1? Hearing none, are there any further nominations for council member from Ward 1? Hearing none, do I hear a motion that nominations for council member from Ward 1 be closed? Thank you. Anybody second that? All in favor of closing nominations for council member from Ward 1 indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Nominations for Ward 1 council member are now closed. Nominations are now in order for 1 council member from Ward 2. Do I hear a nomination for the office of council member from Ward 2? Yes. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Jacqueline Moore, and I nominate Robert Gu for the Ward 2 City Council seat. Robert is a longtime Tacoma Park resident whose child attended our public schools. He's an expert on stormwater issues and water quality, and he works for the Environmental Protection Agency's Office of Water. He's been frustrated by our inability to solve some of our neighborhood problems, and he's shown an interest in engaging in the problem-solving process in a civil and thoughtful manner. He's always been one to step up and do his share, which is the mark of someone who puts the needs of others ahead of themselves. He has a great love of the outdoors, and he's even shared his kayaking skills with disabled veterans. He organized a sporting equipment lending program because he's committed to helping others access the outdoors. I hope that the residents of Ward 2 will join me in supporting Robert Gu for City Council.
Robert Gu has been nominated for City Council member from Ward 2. Are there seconds to the nomination?
The person who's going to second is online.
Okay.
Thank you.
Who are you, person online?
Hello,
Yes.
can you hear me?
We can.
Thank you so much. My name is Sarah O'Donnell. I live on Aspen Avenue in Tacoma Park, and I would like to second the motion to nominate Robert Gu to City Council for Ward 2.
Do you wish to say anything else? You have 2 minutes and 47 seconds left.
I'll be economical with my comments today. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other seconds for Robert Gu as the council member from Ward 2? Hearing none, are there any additional nominations for council member from Ward 2?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Asrat. I'm here to nominate Cindy Dabala for Ward 2 City Council. It has been like a while since I know Cindy while she was working for the city. She's one of the helper for our community. We are the one who living next to the new 7-Eleven. I think everyone knows by now, the 7-Eleven, Charles, sorry. I mean, we'll talk that one in different session. Yeah, I have a few words about Cindy. Today, I would like ask to put your trust in Cindy Dabala. I would like ask, not only nominate to vote for her because doing so well, and she's a decent person. She knows, and you see, they made some kind of improvement, especially for our community. I don't know those of you who knows the Ethan Allen Avenue Gateway. We have seen such a nice development over there. She have made some plans for further development. She knows working mayor office. She has a chance, helping to change, destinies whenever there is issue actually, like security, some other, community issue. We just, chat with her, and she just came in person, and she trying to help our community. She's very responsible. She follow up every time during COVID era as well. She's an outstanding, lady. You would want to know your vote made a difference. That's why I ask you to vote to and also nominate Cindy Dabala. We need someone who is genuine, someone who understands our problems, simply because she's one of us. So I second the nomination of Cindy Dabala for Ward 2 City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Cindy Dabala has been nominated for council member from Ward 2. Is there a second? Okay.
Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Micah Bevington. I live on Hilton Avenue, and I've had the pleasure of working with Cindy since she became our representative. Cindy is a super accessible leader. Her communication is frequent, it's clear. Even when we don't always agree, it is super helpful, and she helps to give us regular updates on what's happening in the city, in the budget, everything from the budget to policies. She is a regular at city events and also neighborhood events. She's easy to contact and a really open with an open personality. So if you email her, you're going to hear back from her shortly, and she won't just respond to your email, she often acts on it too. Cindy became our representative at about the moment when we transitioned from renters to homeowners, and therefore the city budget suddenly became a little bit more interesting and personal to my family. And she also made the budget very accessible, explaining where our revenue was coming from and the kind of needs for diversification in that those revenue streams into the budget, and explaining the ways that the council was making its decisions for policies going forward. She's excellent on follow-up. She brings to our attention everything from climate programs that we should be interested in. The minor master plan at Adventist University is going to be a really big issue and an exciting moment for us to get involved as a community, and wasn't even on our radar really until she brought it to us. She's very active in our discussions on climate change and stormwater issues, crime data. So I'm really pleased and happy to nominate Cindy.
Are there any other seconds to the nomination of Cindy Davila? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gorky Vila. I live in Elm Avenue. I know Cindy for around 10 years. Cindy is a very open-minded, enthusiastic person, and I would like to second the nomination of Cindy Davila for ward number 2. Thank you.
Are there any other seconds for the nomination of Cindy Davila for council member from Ward 2? Hearing none, are there any additional nominations for council member from Ward 2? Do I hear a motion that nominations for council member from Ward 2 be closed? Second? Thank you. All in favor of closing nominations for council member from Ward 2 indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Thank you. The ayes have it. Nominations for Ward 2 council member are now closed. Nominations are now in order for one council member from Ward 3. Are there any nominations? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Paul Wida. I'll make this brief. I live at 6413 4th Avenue, proudly nestled in Hell's Bottom in the heart of Pinecrest neighborhood in Ward 3. I've been a resident for 12 years and proud to nominate my neighbor, Alex Haddon, for Ward 3 Council. Ward 3 in Tacoma Park needs another champion for real issues that matter. He will bring his voice of reason and find consensus leading to action and more accountability from our city government. I hope the residents of Ward 3 will join me in supporting Alex for this election. Thank you.
Alex Haddon has been nominated as a council member from Ward 3. Is there a second to this nomination?
Hello. My name is Sandra Haddon. I live on Sligo Mill Road. I second Alex Haddon as a council member for Ward 3. He is actually my husband. And I naturally have a very firsthand look as to how he would treat the neighborhood, from him picking up trash on the streets to organizing community meetings with neighbors and businesses along New Hampshire Ave. He has been a civil servant for the federal government for over 10 years, and I know he'd be an incredible advocate for our community and bring much needed attention to the issues of Ward 3 to the broader Tacoma Park conversations. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other seconds to the nomination of Alex Haddon for council member from Ward 3? Okay, hearing none. Are there any other nominations for council member from Ward 3? Hey.
My name is Joel Conlon, and I would like to nominate Mimi Diaz for Ward 3 council member. She has lived in Ward 3 for 15 years. She specializes in environmental construction, and I think that's what the city of Tacoma Park would need for future construction projects. She would also represent a Hispanic voice, which is underrepresented on the city council right now. Tacoma Park has a 12% Hispanic population with no council members that are of Hispanic origin. She also has 3 kids in the public school in Montgomery County. She's been part of the pedestrian safety board for Montgomery County in some of their surveys, and she's just an awesome member of the community. So I live in Manor Circle, by the way. Thank you.
Mimi Diaz has been nominated as a council member from Ward 3. Is there a second to that nomination? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Paul Karich. I live at 210 Manor Circle in Ward 3. I'm thrilled to second the nomination of Mimi Diaz. I've known Mimi for as long as I've lived in Tacoma Park, and for as long as I've known her, she's been a leader in our neighborhood and a leader in our community. I know Mimi cares about the environment, she cares about justice, and she cares about ensuring that local government and local politics remain inclusive. I'm sure you caught that Joel was just very modestly explaining how Mimi is also an expert in the budgeting of and management of major construction projects, which I think is a skill that could be valuable. On
Ward 3, Ms. Wessel.
Yes, thank you. Just want to make sure you can hear me.
Yep.
Thanks. I would like to also second the nomination of Mimi Diaz. I am a nurse practitioner in the community, working mostly with the immigrant population, the Latino population. I've lived on Westmoreland Avenue for 25 years, and prior to that, lived on Goody during the time that the PG part of Tacoma Park became part of Montgomery County. There are 3 areas which I would like to mention about Mimi, which some of them have been discussed already, but one is her commitment to the community. I think one of the biggest commitments people with small children can make is to be involved with Tacoma Park Soccer, which she has been involved in as a coach. Other issues in Tacoma Park that she's been directly involved in are issues pertaining to the Tacoma Junction Vision Study and issues in transportation in Tacoma Park. Secondly, as has been stated, her background at the federal level in terms of issues of sustainability, working at the architect of the Capitol, understanding budgets and construction projects would bring a lot to the city in terms of what we want to do going forward to address climate change and continuing to make our city a sustainable and green community. And then the last point I want to make is that in the 25 plus years that I've lived in Tacoma Park, there has been one Latino on the city council a long time ago, and that was a Latin man. And in my history in Tacoma Park, we have not had representation from a Latina female who is bilingual on the city council. And I think that would do service to not only people in Ward 3, but people in all of Tacoma Park and in the surrounding area to address many of the needs of the Latino community in our neighborhood. And for those reasons and many more, I support the nomination of Mimi Diaz to be our council member from Ward 3. Thank you.
Thank you. The nomination of Mimi Diaz for council member from Ward 3. Okay, hearing none. Are there any other nominations for council member from Ward 3?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Julia Jarvis, and I live at 6718 Goody Avenue in Tacoma. I wish to nominate Randy Gibson for City Council from Ward 3. Randy and I met over 32 years ago right here in Tacoma, about a mile away at a party. And not only was our love born in Tacoma, we also raised twin daughters, Jean and Lauren, here. We love Tacoma Park. We support all the local businesses and have been members and supporters of our co-op since 1990. I am nominating Randy for the following 5 reasons. It'll be brief. His integrity is number 1. One of the reasons I was initially drawn to Randy was his integrity. He has an incredibly strong moral compass, being raised by dedicated public servants. His parents taught him to be of service and to do the right thing. In a country where doing the right thing is losing some ground, Randy continues to stand by his principles of honesty, compassion, dependability, perseverance, generosity, humility, and hard work. Number 2, his lifelong passion and work to make the world a better place, to fight for justice and economic diversity here at home and all over around the world. His career started out with the Peace Corps in Iran, doing fair trade work all over the world, international volunteer service, and rural development with USDA. He truly cares for the well-being of all, especially for those who are not being cared for. He has participated for several years in the National Poor People's Campaign, which is a national call for a moral revival where people come together to confront the interlocking evils of systematic racism, poverty, and ecological devastation. Randy states that he will advocate for wisdom, transparency, and justice in how we allocate resources to advance our objectives. Number 3, his commitment to protecting our environment. When Randy retired 6 years ago, we had an energy assessment done in our house. It needed insulation, and Randy, that's the first thing he did. He climbed up into our attic and insulated it all by himself. Not fun, hot. Then he researched everything we needed to know to put solar on our house. We got solar. Then he thought, okay, our house is done. Now what can I do? And he's been part of the local Climate Action Coffee Group, which includes activities with native plants and dealing with local stormwater issues. Randy's a very active participant, worker, and leader. He's also been trying to improve the health of our local forests and believes that all of us together can reduce our carbon footprint, and this is an imperative now. Number 4, his ability to listen to many sides of an issue and reach his own conclusions. He's level-headedness and he's grounded, and it makes it easy to have conversations with him. He listens deeply and even... I'm sorry, but your time is up. Oh, shoot. I just want to say one last thing. Our first dance song together in the Tacoma Park home was Get Up and Stand Up by Bob Marley, and that's what Randy's going to do.
There we go. Randy Gibson has been nominated for council member from Ward 3. Is there a second to that nomination? Oh, on Zoom.
Hello.
Who is it? Hi.
Hi. Hi, my name is Rob Valente, and I would like to second the nomination of Randy Gibson. I think that Julia has preempted many of my remarks, so I'll try to make this quick. I've known Randy and his family for a long time. My children grew up with his children. I've had the privilege of working with him on the Stormwater Committee, which is part of Climate Action Coffee. He's thoughtful and deeply interested in issues about stormwater, the need for pollinators and green spaces, as well as reasonable use of the lot at Tacoma Junction. In my experience working with him on that committee, I see how willingly he provides support for the whole community. He does research. I appreciate his deep concern for building partnerships between citizen committees and city government. He has just always reminded us of the important role that we both have to play together. And as Julia said, Randy listens carefully to all opinions and seeks to bring everyone to a comfortable consensus. He has an amazing capacity for finding common ground with civility and inclusivity. This concern for consensus would be such an asset on the City Council. I support his candidacy wholeheartedly.
Thank you. Are there any other seconds for Randy Gibson's nomination for council member from Ward 3? Hearing none, are there any other nominations for council member from Ward 3? Hearing none, is there a motion for the nominations for council member from Ward 3 be closed? Second? Second. Thank you. All in favor of closing nominations for council member from Ward 3 indicate by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Nominations for Ward 3 council member have now been closed. Nominations are now in order for one council member from Ward 4. Are there any nominations for council member from Ward 4? Hi. Thanks. Oh. Oh. Everybody gets 3 minutes.
My name is Joshua Okoje. I would like to nominate City Council Person Terry Simmons for another round of community service. I've known Terry since 2018 while I moved into the country for the first time, and I was working on my master's in information security. Then I met Terry upstairs while I was studying, and we kicked off our relationship as a person. And I would like to equally commend Terry and Joyce for the effort they've been putting at the City Washington Adventist Community Center. Because of this effort and because of what I've seen over the height of the pandemic period, their effort in reaching out to the people, making sure all of the groceries, all of the deliveries that the people needed at the height of the pandemic, then Terry and Joyce were at the forefront of it. And for this and all other reasons that I've experienced myself, I'd like to nominate Terry Simmons for another round. Thank you.
Terry Siemens is nominated for council member from Ward 4. I assume you're going to second that?
Yes, sir.
Great.
How y'all doing? My name is Ronnie Bean. I've been living on Ritchie for 22 years, and I'm here to nominate Mr. Terry Siemens. And second, my bad. I second him and nominee, my bad. I never did this before. I'm kind of nervous. I'm just here to show Mr. Terry support, and I'm here to do anything that, you know what I'm saying, to help him win. And I appreciate him and Miss Joyce for doing so much in the community in Ward 4 since I've been here for 22 years. I nominate Mr. Terry Siemens. Thank you.
Thank you. Another second. Terry Siemens?
Terry Siemens.
Go for it.
I second it. I'm Susan Hartley. I've been living in Tacoma Park since 1956. And long time, know every crack and cranny. And I've been knowing Terry for a long time. He's been just great for Ward 4, and he helped me personally one day. We know what that is, and I thank him so much for that. And he's just good for Ward 4, and he helps us all out, and he's just a great guy, and I second the nomination. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
My name is Gladys Harvey, and I live on Reverend Gladys Harvey, and I live at 151 Ritchie Avenue. I've been living in Tacoma Park for over 30 years. And I second the motion for Mr. Terry. Mr. Terry, you know, when you go to the store, you find something saying you buy one and get one for free. Well, this is how the Siemens are. You get Mr. Terry and you get Miss Joyce. Okay, and they right together, you know. They like hand in hand all together, you know, holding hands. And I know because I live right next door to them, and they're my friends, and they are good people. They know the heart of the community. They love the community. They love the people. They don't care what time of day. I mean, I live next door to them, and sometimes I have to go sit down because they make me so tired, you know, to see them running up and down the street, and they going and they going and they going and they going and they going, and I call them on the phone and ask them, are they okay? You know, because they be like going all the time. But I second their motion because they are good people, and they are very, very good people, and they are trustworthy and loyal. I second that motion.
Are there any other seconds for Terry Siemens for council member from Ward 4? Do you have a card?
Yes.
I wrote all over it.
Thank you.
You need to keep it. Hi, David Moon. Terry didn't ask me to speak, but he's one of my neighbors, and I just want to wholeheartedly throw in a second for his nomination for another term. He just dragged me out to help deliver food for some of our residents in need just a day or two ago, and he's been keeping that up for years. And so it would be a true loss to not have Terry come back. So thanks, and hope you'll support him.
Are there additional seconds to the nomination of Terry Siemens for council member from Ward 4? Hearing none, are there additional nominations for the council member from Ward 4? Hearing none, do I hear a motion that nominations for council member from Ward 4 be closed? Is there a second? All those in favor of closing nominations for council member from Ward 4 indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Nominations for Ward 4 council member are now closed. And now for the best ward in the city. Sorry. Nominations are now in order for one council member from Ward 5. Woo, Ward 5. Ma'am, do you have a card?
Yes.
Thank you.
My name is Jaquette Frazier. I live on 777 Maple Avenue. I've been in this ward for 21 years. I retired from Department of Agriculture and from Civil Rights. And I watched Yared Tababu come up in this city. He was raised by parents who have given service for all the years that I've been here. He has a strong value. He's committed. He has had service with nonprofits. He always been respectful. It would be refreshing to see someone young as he. He has worked with me in Lunch and Learn. I'm also the executive director in Lunch and Learn, and I try to teach my children about their civic commitment to this city. He comes from a background of family that is committed to Martin Luther King programs. He is always there when I need him. He also loves the fact that community is important. He's interested in youth programs, educational programs. I am so proud of him because we need someone on the board, on the council, that can get some of the knowledge to be passed down to the youth. And he's a great representative for the youth. And he also is into inclusive about things that apartment dwellers. He lived in my apartment. He knows the problems that come with apartment living, and he's now also in home living. So he knows about the community. He was pretty much raised all his life here. So I am going to be the one to stand here and say he has actually worked in Lunch and Learn, worked with me by my side. I know his respectfulness. I know he's committed. His service to our city would make me proud. He knows from his family values and what community life is, and I am here to give him the most recommendation to serve in Ward 5. Thank you.
We have a nomination for, I missed the name. What is it? Yared Tababu. Yared Tababu has been nominated for council member from Ward 5. My apologies on the name. Is there a second?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Greetings. Hello, hi everybody. Before I'm here to my name is Tibawa Safa. I live at 7720 Carroll Avenue. Before I nominate my son, I would like to express a profound gratitude because you've raised him. Yared was raised in Tacoma Park. That said, I am here with a profound, I don't usually write, but today I am writing to be precise. It was a profound pride and honor I stand before you to nominate Yared Tababu, who happens to be my son, for the council seat for Ward 5 for the Tacoma Park City Council. I'm honored because Yared grew up in Tacoma Park in the shadow of his parents' community building engagement and social activism. His mother is a network builder for a very prominent community organizations in the heart of Silver Spring, Impact Silver Spring. Together, my wife and I have dedicated our life for social and cultural entrepreneurship in the midst of Tacoma Park, a wonderful place. I am a proud resident of Tacoma Park. You make Tacoma Park great. And my wife and I have organized festivals, coffee ceremonies, and launched and promoted the nation's first benefit corporation as an international trade geared towards development that brings the Tacoma Park residents in partnership with coffee farmers in Ethiopia. And I have also actively worked to echo the voices of the immigrants in this dynamic place we call Tacoma Park by getting involved in every city, county, state, federal election and discourse. So that means I've dragged my son Yared and his sister to every community engagement. They grew up in the midst of Tacoma Park. You helped, actually, in this process, we've made a lot of friends, our neighbors and friends. Most of you here, you've raised us, you've helped us raise this wonderful, dynamic son I'm proud of. And because it takes a village to raise a wonderful son. So with that, I am here proud and also impressed. You know why I'm impressed? I'm an activist. As an activist, I tell you, the mark of a public servant, there are three in my humble judgment. First and foremost, integrity, a profound integrity. Second, it is honesty. Honesty, integrity, the mind and a problem-solving mind. Those are important hallmarks of an active, a prolific public servant. So Yared, my son, I'm proud to say he has unwavering integrity, he is smart, and has a passion for public service. That is amazing. And I'm impressed because his campaign theme is for the people. The people. It is all about the people. So with that remark, somebody's waving time is up. I would leave you by saying I'm proud and impressed to give, as Noah gave his first son Isaac, I hereby bless my son's aspiration to serve you. Thank you.
Are there any other seconds for Yared Tababu's nomination for council member from Ward 5? Are there additional nominations for council member from Ward 5?
Excuse me.
Yes.
I think you missed a hand up
Okay.
on the Zoom.
Oh. Sorry. My apologies. Thank you, Jesse. We miss you. Yes. No, we see it. Nominating Seth Grimes
No, there's a.
and Yared Babu.
There we go.
Okay.
Hi, can I go ahead?
Sure.
Thank you so much, and thanks for pointing that out, whoever, I'm not sure who that was. Hi, I'm Katie Strauss. I'm happy to second the nomination for Yared Tababu for Ward 5. I live on Flower Avenue, and although I've only been a renter here for a bit over a year, I feel really connected to the community. I grew up in White Oak. I attended Tacoma Park Middle School, and my kids went through Tacoma soccer for many years, where I also sometimes coach. And I've been a member of Tacoma Park Mobilization since it got started, and a founding member of SSJC, Silver Spring Justice Coalition. So I'm really happy and excited about Yared's candidacy. I've known his parents, Sarah and Tababu, for several years, and after meeting Yared, I realized really quickly that he inherited their energy and their passion for the community and for people's welfare. I had a chance to talk with him specifically about his candidacy. And what I really appreciated most about the discussion was really his deep sense of the responsibility of being on the council and how he views accountability as something that's not just something, like a buzzword, but something that he feels deeply and intends to actively visit ward members and listen deeply and be connected to his neighbors and what they need. And I could just sense that when we were talking, that he really meant that. And it was not just something that he, thought might be nice to say, but he sounds very excited. And so his excitement and energy is very infectious. I've also learned he's been an active volunteer in a lot of pursuits, both sort of community level, but also political. So I think he's going to bring a great perspective to the council. And so for all these reasons, I think he'd be an excellent advocate for his neighbors, and I'm super happy to nominate Yared for City Council Ward 5. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Can you restate your last name, please?
Sorry, it's Katie Stauss, S as in Sam, Tauss.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other nomination, or seconds rather, for the nomination of Yared Tababu for council member from Ward 5? I see another hand on Zoom.
Hi, sorry, I was nominating for a different thing.
Okay.
My apologies.
That's fine. Any other seconds to the nomination of Yared Tababu? Hearing none, are there any additional nominations for council member from Ward 5? David Daddio?
Yeah, my name is David Daddio.
Sorry.
I'm on Kennebec Avenue, and I'm here to nominate Hanzak for Ward 5 City Council. I've been at home with the sick kid for the past 5 days, so Kara would understand I didn't have a lot of time to prepare remarks, but I guess I always think about seeing Kara on a dark day in November 2016, just after the election, and she had put out a sign, and it wasn't a sign about the election that you bought on Amazon. It was a sign that she created with her kids about equity and gender and climate change and science. And I think that's just the way that she has conducted her career and her life and her family, her young 3 kids. And I feel like Kara really understands the struggles in this community of families with young kids. And so really proud to be here tonight to nominate my friend and neighbor, Kara Hanzak.
Great, thank you. Kara Hanzak has been nominated for council member from Ward 5. Is there a second?
Hello, my name is Margie Goulding. I've been a Tacoma Park resident for 22 years, and I'm happy to second the nomination for Kara for council member for Ward 5. I've known Kara for about 11 years, since our children met together in kindergarten. She is definitely engaged in school issues because she has children in MCPS at all levels, elementary, middle, and high school. But more importantly, she's just a warm, welcoming, and energetic person who has been known to throw lots of Halloween parties and put together a block party, and she's just a very inclusive person. She's also trilingual, which will help. She speaks English, Spanish, and Czech, so she can communicate with those 3 groups. Anyway, I think she'd do a great job, so hopefully you'll help support her. Kara Hanzak, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other seconds for the nomination of Kara Hanzak for council member from Ward 5? Hearing none, are there any additional nominations for council member from Ward 5? Yeah, I know. This was the person who was doing it later.
No.
Yeah? Nominating AJ Campbell?
Yes, hi. My name is Marika Campbell-Blue. I'm a resident of Ward 5, 8315 Roanoke Avenue in Tacoma Park, obviously. And I'd like to nominate AJ Campbell, my mom. And not only because she's my mom, but also because I know she wants it more than anything, and she deserves it more than anyone else I know. when I was younger and I attended Tacoma Park Elementary School and Piney Branch Elementary School, she helps me gather box tops, you know, the little like things that go on boxes in the grocery store for my school. And I would come to school every week with like a huge Ziploc bag full of box tops that we gathered from our groceries. And like even the principal knew that like she could see me coming in with all the box tops that I had. She was like, "Oh, here's Marika with her box tops." And my mom has been a fierce advocate for me and for everyone, really. Through my experience growing up in MCPS, MCP, Montgomery County Public Schools, sorry. It's been a little while. She has been the strongest standalone advocate for me in special education when the people at the school would swear that they were giving me accommodations and they weren't. And no one else has like fought for me like that. And I know that she would fight for Ward 5 the same way that she fought for me. And she's always been my fiercest cheerleader in everything. Whenever I wanted to do something, she always cheered me on. And like whenever I did soccer, she was like, "Go do soccer. I'll support you and do whatever you want to do. Just tell me what it is and I'll be there. I'll do anything." Right. So yeah. And she was my Girl Scout leader. She organized events, gathered money. We also gathered donations for our synagogue for a really long time, for the pantry that donated to a homeless shelter. And she cooked Thanksgiving turkeys for homeless shelters too. And I remember helping her with that. That was also a like pivotal moment in my life. She volunteered very, very heavily for the folk festival. I remember wearing and volunteering with her, wearing the t-shirts that she designed and working with past residents. And she's been very, very politically active and passionate in Ward 5.
Wow. Timing is perfect. AJ Campbell has been nominated for a council member seat from Ward 5. Is there a second?
I'm second.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I am Sonia Smith, wife of Jared Smith, who is the current council member for Ward 5. I'm thrilled, and I can't think of a better person to follow in Jared's footsteps than AJ Campbell. This lady is a trooper. She cannot stop if she believes in a cause. And she will be that for Ward 5 and the residents of Ward 5. I promise you, you will not be sorry making her your representative. Thank you.
Thank you. Another second. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Keith Brunner. I've been at 7902 Flower Avenue for 22 years. That's the first driveway north of the Washington Adventist University campus. One of the things that I like about AJ Campbell is that she's been thinking a lot about the minor master plan and communicated in some detail in writing to the neighborhood listserv this week with her thoughts about it. And I'm glad to see that level of detailed involvement in city policy. AJ also has a master's degree in public administration, which is very relevant to serving on the council. And AJ has been an active participant in council meetings over the past several years. So she knows what she's getting into, and she knows what the issues are that are on the table. AJ has shown over the last year plus willingness to convene and attend neighborhood meetings. And she also has done a good job of reaching out to those of us who have disagreed with her on some issues, and I've been one of them. So I'm very impressed with AJ, and I think she's going to hit the ground running and make a profound difference on the council. I heartily support AJ Campbell for the Ward 5 seat.
Are there any other seconds for the nomination of AJ Campbell for Ward 5 council member? Hearing none, are there any additional nominations for council member from Ward 5? Do I hear a motion to close nominations for council member from Ward 5? Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Thank you. Nominations for Ward 5 council member are now closed. Nominations are now in order for one council member from Ward 6. Got a competing thing going here. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gil Winters. I am a Ward 6 resident, 13th Avenue. I'm here to nominate Mike Moore for the Ward 6 Tacoma Park Council member. Mike is a 36-year resident of Tacoma Park. He's raised 3 children here who are all grown adults and have moved on in their life. He's a longtime community servant. He served currently as a member of the Purple Line Citizen Advisory Team. He's also vice president of the Hillwood Manor Community Association. On and off for approximately 15 years, he served as president, as vice president, as a counselor. And when I moved into Tacoma Park, he actually inspired me to take over the role of president and vice president as my time here in Tacoma Park has been, as long as I've been a resident of Tacoma Park. He's a former Tacoma Park Foundation board member, a former member of the Tacoma Park Safe Roadways Committee, and most of all, he's actually been a council member previously, so he's not unfamiliar to the role and to the challenges that he'll face in that role. So tonight, I'd like to nominate Mike Moore for Tacoma Park Ward 6 council member. Thank you.
Mike Moore has been nominated for the council member seat from Ward 6. Is there a second to this nomination? Thank you. Thanks so much.
Hello. My name's Melanie Fosnot, and I live on Elson Place, just around the corner from Mike. I've been there for 30 years, in Tacoma Park for 31, and Mike's been there even longer than I have. Gil just gave you Mike's resume, so I won't review that all over again. I'll just tell you a little bit about what I know about Mike. I don't think you're going to find a more knowledgeable candidate for office here in Tacoma Park. He's served at so many different levels. He's pragmatic. He's committed. Actually, he's pragmatic, but he's a really good balance of pragmatism and idealism. And to illustrate that, I'll tell a story. Conversation that I had with Mike some years ago, and he's probably back there thinking, "Oh gosh, what did I say?" But we were in a group of people, and people were talking about our ballots and our city materials being printed in multiple languages, and nobody was opposed to it, but there were some people in the group who were a little puzzled by it. They didn't understand the purpose of it. And Mike made a very brief but impassioned argument in favor of it, because he said, we need to make sure that people have as many opportunities to participate in their community as possible. We need to make sure that they feel welcomed to participate in our democracy and as members of the community. And the way you do that is that you reach out to people in their languages so that they know that they're welcome and you can communicate and they can participate. And it was an interesting moment, because he felt very strongly about it and very much impressed me with that, that this was just a very simple way to get people to participate in their community. It was how you get things done. Behind it was a very strong conviction that people should be participating in democracy, which is something I think, well, we're all here in this room, so I believe that we all believe that. But it was also just an acknowledgement of the simple fact of how you got people to do it. You printed materials so that they could use them and understand them. And that balance of idealism and pragmatism is something that I think Mike will carry over into everything that he does for us in our ward and in our city. So with that in mind, and with all the things that Gil said about Mike's experience, I am really proud to second the nomination. Thank you.
there any other seconds to the nomination of Mike Moore as the council member from Ward 6? Thank you. And the cords.
Hi, my name is Fred Schultz. Some of you may remember me for having served on the city council for a good number of years, representing Ward 6. And I'm here to second the nomination of Mike Moore. In the time that I've lived in Ward 6, which goes back to the mid-'80s, I've known Mike, certainly, but when I was on the city council, one of the things that you're always looking for are constituents who really are interested in what's going on and what their council member is doing to represent the particular ward. And Mike was always one who had ideas and questions, and it made me feel like, as a council member, he really was grooved in on what was going on in the city council. And it kind of stands to reason, because from 1989, tell me, Mike, if I got this right, to 1991, a term he served on the city council. And mind you, this was back before the days of cell phones. This was back before the days of email, you know, so he understands. He has a very firm grasp from that experience. It tells you a lot that somebody who did that a long, long time ago is ready and willing to come back and try to do it again, and with bringing a lifetime's worth of experience in the field of law and business and federal regulations. So I know that he's going to do a fine job. I have a lot of confidence in him. And the one other thing I would mention is that for the past 5 years, and then Talisha Searcy has represented Ward 6, and then my 8 years on the city council, both of us came from the New Hampshire Gardens side of Ward 6. So I think it's time that the other side of New Hampshire Avenue in Ward 6 have a representative that serves on the city council. And so that's another good reason why I think you should support him. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other seconds to the nomination of Mike Moore for council member from Ward 6? Are there additional nominations for the council member from Ward 6? Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Ooh.
I'm here to nominate Jason Small to be council member for Ward 6. I nominate Jason as a longtime neighbor. I know someone who's very committed to the community, someone who is extremely expert on city government, and someone who is also a young father and a longtime coach and a great contributor to this community. So, and now I will pass it to Gretchen.
Jason's all been nominated. I think Gretchen seconded.
That's me.
All right.
Hi, my name is Gretchen Kapusik. I'm a resident of Ward 6 on Glenside Drive. I have lived there for 27 years, something along those lines. We bought our house when we were still PG County, and 6 months after we moved in, we became Montgomery County. So I know something of my kids were never able to go to the neighborhood schools. So there are specific challenges facing Ward 6. I believe that Jason Small understands them. I think he's very representative of our very diverse community. He's an activist. He has experience as a city administrator. He is the current president of our residents association. And I believe that he would be a fierce advocate for Ward 6 on the city council, with the ability to create consensus in community, because that's what he's done in our area. So thank you very much. That's my second for Jason Small.
Thank you. Are you seconding Jason Small? No. Okay. We got another second for Jason Small. Thank you.
All right. Hi, good evening. My name is Dwayne Scott. I am here to second the nomination of Jason Small for for City Council member for Ward 6. I live on 1114 Jackson Avenue, and I won't go more further than what Gretchen and Doug said. They spoke very well on behalf of Jason. I just want to mention a couple of other things that I think are important and why I believe he would serve as a fantastic council member for our ward. Jason and I have known each other for roughly about 6 years. Our children are really great friends together. But what brings me to want to nominate him is his ability to work towards consensus, his warmth. Jason is one of the most intelligent people that I know across the board, whether it's politics, crime, housing, climate. Jason has a grasp on many of those issues. But what I also admire in Jason is his ability to be a person who asks questions, who is understanding of the things that he doesn't know, and to seek out those who may have more information that he could build upon to be able to talk about the issues in a way that are helpful, informative, and will allow our community to gain the appropriate and effective use of his skills to help build a stronger and better community, particularly in Ward 6. He's definitely committed to Tacoma Park. He currently serves as our the New Hampshire Gardens president. So it's with a strong and warm belief that I move forward to nominate Jason or second the nomination for Jason Small as for our Ward 6 council. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other seconds for the nomination of Jason Small to be council member from Ward 6?
I'm Jason Small. I'd like to speak to the nomination.
You're going to second yourself.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
All right. That's good. I apologize. I don't mean to take a lot of time in doing this, but there are a couple things that I did want to say. First of all, this is officially my third time running for this position. The first time I ran as a write-in candidate because it was candidly clear to a lot of the neighborhood that our representative was not necessarily being responsive to economic development issues. The second time I ran against the person who was the previous person who was in charge of the neighborhood association, and we had a really awesome race, and she was thoughtful and intellectual, and I was happy to support her as she continued in the role. This time around, I am really here to preempt any sort of implications about my name or experience or residency on one side of New Hampshire Avenue or the other, because candidly, we are a ward who has faced an alienation of a profound sort. Historically and presently, we have the most diversity, we have the economic density, and we have the most people who are watching their neighborhood change as a result of the economic realities of this area. And so to be oblivious to those things or act like the council isn't a part of those things would be absurd. I went to Yale Law School. I was a state finalist for Rhodes Scholarship. I used to be a town administrator, and I'm a pretty nice guy. And Wu-Tang is for the children.
Are there any other seconds for the nomination of Jason Small to be the council member from Ward 6? Hearing none. Are there any additional nominations for the council member from Ward 6? Okay. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Masfin Amara. I live in Tacoma Park for 35 years, 1100 Kingwood Drive. And I know my good friend of mine, his name is Amber, and I know him for over 3 years. He's a very dedicated person, also multi-language speaker, and we do also work together sometimes in the park, and we're concerned about Tacoma Park. Tacoma Park is a great city. And almost I grew up here myself, and I have one child. So I nominate him, Mr. Ambers, for Ward 6 City Council.
Thank you. Ambrose Agosi, is that correct? Are there any seconds? I assume you're seconding. Great.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gertrude Dangbeji. I am Ambrose Agosi's wife. We live in Takuma Park on Kingwood Drive on Ward 6. So we moved to Takuma Park since September 2019. We live there with our children. Ambrose is a very hard worker. He's a compassionate person. He likes to help and serve other people than himself. He's a family man committed to serving others and a proud of Takuma Park resident, seeking to build bridges and work with the community to make it great for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional seconds for the nomination of Ambrose Agosi to be council member from Ward 6? Hearing none, are there any additional nominations for the council member from Ward 6? Okay. Oh, got a couple.
My name is Sarlington Sims. I live at 7807 Lockton Avenue for the past 32 years. And I'm nominating Roger Charles, for the council. The thing that impressed me about Mr. Charles is inclusiveness with respect to people. I mean, no one, he's always bringing someone in. And he will stay there with you time after time for elongated periods just to get an understanding from you. And that, in the years that I've been known him, that is the thing that really just strikes me. I mean, he's always there. He's always there. And that alone, I'm not telling you it's what the candidate says you should be based on. It's just that there is something about it that when you know that somebody's out there really willing to take the time to listen to you. But thank you anyway.
Thank you. Roger Charles has been nominated as a council member from Ward 6. Is there a second to the nomination?
Great, yes, thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. It's good.
Okay, finally. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
He's been trying hard.
Yeah.
My name is Onyema Uzebu, and like most of my colleagues and patients, you don't have to try to say my name. They just call me Dr. O. Just the letter O. I knew about Roger Charles before I met him. He had gone to school with my father-in-law. And those who knew my father-in-law knew him as a very competent and very honest accountant. In fact, he became a general auditor before he passed away. So I knew Roger Charles. And then my wife and I moved to Cole Avenue, and we became neighbors. I found him very warm. He's traveled a lot. I had an accident last year, and I'm still in therapy. I had a four-car pileup. So when I'll be walking for part of my therapy, sometimes I will see Roger, or I will see this car that turns around, and he said, "Can I give you a ride?" And I'm like, "No, I have to take this punishment all by myself." So I'll be walking. Next time I'm walking, he's walking that way, and I'm going that way. He said, oh, I'll walk with you. I said, no, but I want the independence. I don't want to depend. He said, I'll walk with you. I found him very warm, very intelligent, and he visits us so often that every now and then I'll see his cat coming to visit too. I'm not joking. So with his vast knowledge and interaction with people, I believe that he will be a very good council member for Ward 6 and for the city of Tacoma Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other seconds for Roger Charles for council member from Ward 6? Great. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Celeste James. I'm a resident of Tacoma Park, of course, 1202 Kirkland Avenue. I've been here for almost 30 years, and I'm here with my husband, Mac, to second the nomination for Raju Charles. We've not known Mr. Charles very long, but we have known, what we have come to understand and to know of him is that he is both passionate and compassionate, someone who deeply cares about community, who deeply cares especially about marginalized and disenfranchised populations within this community. And he himself, as an immigrant from India who came from a caste system, understands what it is to be a marginalized person or someone who is considered to be and treated in a way that marginalizes. And thus he appreciates what it means to struggle. He also deeply is committed to education, seeking to ensure that people have an opportunity to be educated, especially in community college, with potential for free community college. He is also passionate about business, small business. Small businesses are the engines of our community. They not only support the community economically, but they also enable people to get jobs. So he is looking to support us in various ways in our ward, to be deeply connected to the community and to ensure that people have an opportunity, both economic and civic opportunity in this community. And so I hereby second the nomination of Raju Charles.
Just a quick interruption. When you come up to the podium and speak in the mic, try not to speak too close to the mic. It sounds a little garbled for the folks that are listening in on Zoom.
Thank you. Are there any other seconds to the nomination of Roger Charles for our council member from Ward 6? Hearing none. Are there any additional nominations for council member from Ward 6? Hearing none. Do I hear a second or a motion? Okay. Do I hear a motion to close nominations for council member from Ward 6? Second? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Nominations for Ward 6 council member are now closed. Nominations are now in order for mayor of Tacoma Park. Is there a nomination for the office of mayor? Daryl Alexander on the Zoom call.
Thank you very much. My name is Daryl Alexander. I'm a resident on Glenside Drive in Tacoma Park. It is my privilege to nominate Talisha Searcy for mayor. She has served the city and its residents for almost a decade. As Ward 6 City Council member, Talisha has been an engaged and results-oriented advocate for residents and businesses alike. I am nominating Talisha because she jumped into action and helped establish the city's COVID-19 pandemic response. She has led redevelopment of critical infrastructure here in Ward 6 and also citywide. And she has continuously supported local businesses impacted by the Purple Line development. I am nominating Talisha because I've watched her over her service on the council, as she's a forward-thinking person. She researches the issues well. She maintains contacts with county representatives, state representatives, and federal representatives. And she is also always looking for opportunities for the city of Tacoma Park. And finally, I am nominating Talisha Searcy for mayor because she is a strong, inclusive leader with an ability to bring people together. Thank you.
Thank you. Talisha Searcy has been nominated for mayor. Is there a second to that nomination? Yes. On Zoom, Haydar Suskind.
Hi.
Go ahead.
My video?
Hey, there
Hi,
you
I'm Haydar Suskind, Ward 1. I live on Baltimore Avenue, and I've been in Tacoma Park 24 years now, and I am here to second Talisha's nomination. I am really looking forward to having someone in the mayor's office like Talisha, who I think is, someone who gets things done, somebody who looks at the problems clearly and is willing to not just keep doing everything we've always done, but to take action. It is time that we have somebody that is representative of everyone in Tacoma Park, is going to speak for all of our residents, all of our constituents here, and I am happy to second Talisha's nomination.
Thank you. Are there additional seconds to the nomination of Talisha Searcy? Casey Kostiak?
Yes, thank you. Good evening. My name is Casey Kostick, and I'm a resident and the current City Council member for Ward 3. I'm sorry I couldn't be here with you all this evening, but I wanted to join you virtually tonight to second the nomination of Talisha Searcy for mayor. I've had the honor of working with and getting to know Talisha over the past 5 years as we've served together on the City Council. And for 5 years, I've sat next to her on the dais and have collaborated with her on a number of different issues. Throughout that time, I've seen Talisha's enthusiasm for this work and her genuine commitment to making this community the best place it can be. I've seen her again and again make forward-thinking and progressive decisions about complex issues and to emphasize equity and well-being in her decision-making process. During this time, throughout that time, I have also shared a lot of perspectives with her, which is one of the reasons why I'm nominating her. But I think what's equally important is what I've seen from Talisha when she and I have not agreed on an issue, or when she has not agreed on an issue with someone else in the community. Because this happens from time to time with everyone. I believe that when this happens, we see a person's true nature and their leadership potential. And in my experience, Talisha has never failed to treat others who have different opinions with respect, dignity, and an interest in engaging. When someone has a different opinion, she sees it not as a challenge or an obstacle, but a real opportunity to learn and integrate new perspectives into her own. This is a rare trait and one that I think is really important. We come to better solutions when we listen to one another, and the best outcomes are when policies and decisions are shaped by multiple perspectives and informed by differences of opinion. I feel confident that Talisha will continue to do this as mayor and will bring together colleagues on the council and in the community, as well as represent Tacoma Park well beyond our borders. For these reasons, I'm nominating her, seconding her nomination tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other seconds to the nomination of Talisha Searcy?
Yes, thank you. Again, Celeste James, Kirkland Avenue, Tacoma Park. I just wanted to say that I wanted to give an example of an encounter with Talisha that I had a few years ago that really spoke to me about being a doer. I live on the side of Tacoma Park that's very close to an apartment building, and the apartment building complex had a lot of trash on it. And the owner of the apartment just wasn't cleaning it up. And so finally I called her and I asked, can you help? Can you help us to get this done? I see this every day. My children walk through it going to school. It's not right. And within 48 hours, that landlord was there cleaning up the front of the yard, mowing the lawn, and doing what he should have done in the first place. But what spoke to me about it is that she was extremely responsive. She answered my emails. She responded back and forth with me, asked questions, knew exactly where she had to deal with the problem, and she dealt with it. That to me is a leader, and that to me is also someone who listens and responds well to community, understands the challenges, as simple as they may feel to us, or maybe even to her. She's there to do it and to fix it and to support community. So that's just a story, my own experience, and I second the nomination.
Thank you. Are there additional nominations for Talisa Searcy to be mayor?
Oh, I already handed it my card.
Okay.
That's all right.
Hope I don't need two.
No, you don't.
Hi, I'm Fred Schultz. I live at 7311 Wildwood Drive. I'm seconding the nomination of Talisa Searcy. Partly I'm doing this because I kind of mentored Talisa. I noticed that when she was president of the New Hampshire Gardens Civic Association, she did a really outstanding job and revitalized the organization. And so when I was getting ready to retire from the city council, I could think of nobody better than in our ward who I thought could be a good representative of Ward 6. But I felt like I had an obligation as a friend and to somebody who was new to being getting into politics to help her to be sure that she knew what she was getting into. So I invited her to come down to my house, and we sat in our living room, and I said, Talisa, one of the things I want to do is to try to make the case of what you're getting into and why you shouldn't run for the city council, because it's not an easy job. It's a very, very challenging job. It's virtually full-time and so forth and so on. So we talked for about an hour, and she got all done, and she thanked me profusely and with a great deal of humor, as is her tendency. But she said, great, this is really what I needed to hear. I'm more persuaded now than ever that this is what I want to do. And I thought, terrific. And that's the kind of person that she's been. She has been dogged in being representing Ward 6. One of the things that I'm really excited about is that Talisa has a very innate, good, solid, wise understanding of economic development and what the economic potential is for redevelopment on New Hampshire Avenue and in the crossroads, which is where our future tax base lies. And I'm confident when she's mayor, we're going to see things happening, like getting housing built in the city and getting a new recreation center built as quickly as is reasonable. So I really think that Talisa is going to be able to lead. And that's more than anything, over the past 5 years, it's been a tumultuous time for our city for various reasons. And I think she's the person who's fully capable of bringing our city together and really getting things done. So thank you very much for letting me have my moment here. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other seconds for the nomination of Talisa Searcy to be mayor? Thank you.
Hi, Kelly Skelton, Ward 6. I have been Talisa's constituent since I moved to Tacoma Park, and I have enjoyed being her constituent because of, as my neighbor mentioned, her responsiveness, her ability to bring people together, her ability to bring people of different viewpoints together, and to have a civil discussion even when you're in a very fraught situation. And I think, Fred, she took your advice, because I think she deliberated a long time about whether she should be mayor, and in the end thought that she could serve the city residents of Tacoma Park at this moment, at this time, to use the federal funding that we've received in the best way possible to continue to support the businesses being impacted by the Purple Line construction, to continue to focus not only on the downtown areas of Tacoma Park, but on the farthest reaches of the tax base that Fred mentioned. One of my favorite stories about the work that Talisha has already done is in the facade improvements that we've seen along the New Hampshire corridor, and how she dug in to the money being offered by the Maryland state government for grants for those facade improvements. So she is really willing to pull up her sleeves and dig in and do the work for the residents of Tacoma Park. And while talk is important, I think actions, and Talisha's actions specifically, speak much louder than any words. And we've seen, as residents of Ward 6, her focus on us, our community center, the Crossroads area, and I think she can really benefit all the residents of Tacoma Park in the way that she conducts herself and the way that she brings people together, building bridges, and the way that she really moves the work forward and is willing to get her hands dirty. Thank you.
Are there any additional seconds for the nomination of Talisha Searcy to be mayor of Tacoma Park? Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Rajiv Charles. I'm proud to endorse the next mayor of Tacoma Park, the product of civil rights and social justice. I'm from India, a country which practices untouchability and social injustice. Even today, we have to change our name and religion, accept Hindu name and Hindu religion to get equal opportunity in higher education employment. But only in Martin Luther King's country, we got an equal opportunity where I feel more proud and more safe and secure in this country. So it is my pleasure to endorse the next mayor of Tacoma Park, Chelsea. Thank you. God bless America.
Are there any additional seconds to the nomination of Talisha Searcy to be mayor of Tacoma Park? Hearing none. Are there any other
got one.
Sorry.
Not having spoken with her ahead of time about my doing this, I wanted to make sure everyone else who wanted to do it went first. My name's Jeffrey Noel Nussbaum. I live on New Hampshire Avenue currently. I have, Ward 6, but I was in Ward 3 for years. And I actually ran for Ward 3 city council member before. And I've had, of course, being in Ward 3, many wonderful city council members, and Talisha's been in that vein. And I have to say that every time I've met her and at an event or discussed an issue with her, she's always been very thoughtful, and I've always been impressed about how her understanding of the issues. And the one thing that brings me to support her this year for mayor is her vote against the redistricting plan and the fact that it kept Ward 3 in such a terrible shape. And so the fact that she was a council member not from Ward 3 who recognized that issue, I want to make sure I back her.
Are there additional nomination or seconds for the nomination of Talisha Searcy to be mayor? Hearing none, are there any other nominations for mayor of Tacoma Park? Great. I think she got the jump on you. No, I don't know.
Hello again. I am Sonia Smith, wife of Ward 5 Councilmember Jared Smith, and I would like to nominate Jared Smith to be the next mayor of Tacoma Park. Folks, this man is so knowledgeable. He has the breadth and depth of what we need to continue to move forward as a city. He's got contacts nationwide. He's got knowledge And I have learned so much from him. So many other people in this city have learned a lot from him. And I think that's what we need. We need competence. We need truth. We need results. And he has a proven track record. I ask that everyone support Jarrett Smith to be the next mayor of Tacoma Park, and visit us at smithfortacomapark.com.
Jarrett Smith has been nominated for mayor of Tacoma Park. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Great.
Alrighty.
Yeah, mind the cords there.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Michui, Ward 2, lived in Tacoma Park for 37 years, first as a renter on Lee Avenue, a few blocks from here. Started Parents of Special Needs Adults 7 years ago. Mr. Smith seems to really care about people like me, where I'm low income, and I've got a son who's low income. As you can see, my son has autism and other special needs. And you talk about the village. There's no village for my son. He has no one helping him. And I think Mr. Smith, as at least when he sees me, acknowledges my presence. A lot of people, I think, avoid me because they know my situation. And the song goes, nobody loves you when you're down and out. But I think he's still acknowledging me as a human being, which I really appreciate, which a lot of people here don't in Tacoma Park. And I'm sorry, again, my son has disabilities, but he was born that way. And I wish to God I could change it, but I can't. And also, I'm a low-income homeowner. I think a lot of people here, I've lived here 37 years. I see it in my street. They're knocking down houses and gentrifying them, selling them for 800, 900,000. One a block from me went for $1 million. It's ridiculous. Only people moving in, I hate to say it, and I don't want to, my son is biracial, by the way. He doesn't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable with all these upper middle class people, most of them white, moving in. I much prefer a more diverse neighborhood, economically and racially, as it used to be when I moved in here. That's gone. It's gone. It's all upper middle class white people moving in. And I don't mind you moving in, but leave room for the rest of us, please. Thank you.
On Zoom, we have Katie Strauss. Oh, okay. Is this the second for Jarrett Smith? Okay.
No, sorry, I'm nominating. I just
And
heard you
then-
call my name.
Paul will get to you in a second, okay? Great.
Hello again. My name is Jacqueline Moore, and I live in Ward 2. I am proud to second the nomination of Jarrett Smith for mayor of Tacoma Park. Jarrett has been the moral compass on the council, voting his conscience time and again, even when he's been in the minority. He can be counted on to base his decisions on a solid set of values, critical analysis of all perspectives, and his broad expertise in city government affairs. He has real and actual legislative achievements under his belt, not just wishes and dreams. He launched the whole idea of racial equity as being an important city council topic, and he will ensure that using this lens to inform policy decisions becomes a reality. He will not just pay lip service to this important ideal. He pushed for and voted for American Rescue Plan Act funding to go to those who need it most, not the expansion of the police station and for use to address library project cost overruns. He's the only one of the 4 candidates who are seeking the role of mayor tonight to remain on the council who voted against the Neighborhood Development Company's proposal for the Tacoma Junction in 2018. The State Highway Administration's analysis has proved that Jarrett made the correct choice and an informed choice when he voted against this proposal. He advocated for the $2 million Flower Avenue Green Street project. This involved getting funds, $1 million from the federal government, $1 million bond initiative from the city, and money from the county and state Residents with disabilities are no longer forced to navigate the streets and dodge cars because they now have a sidewalk. Jarrett has proven that he can build consensus across borders. Jarrett, who is himself a renter, has been a staunch advocate for and a protector of our rent-stabilized housing. He served his ward with dignity, whether or not people were aware of it, on everything from lunch and learn to requiring window guards in rental houses to protect the lives of young children. He has advanced education in how to run a city and a network with other cities through his active leadership in the Maryland Municipal League. This experience has given him an unusual breadth and depth in understanding the challenges faced by small cities like our own and the variety of promising policies and practices that local governments can bring to bear to address them. In closing, Jarrett is the best person for mayor of Tacoma Park. He understands the value of community. I hope you all will join me in electing Jarrett Smith as mayor. Community first.
Thank you. We'll go to Zoom now. Mr. Hubner, Paul Hubner.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Hubner.
I rise to second the nomination of the People's Representative, Jarrett Smith. He is a long-serving council member who has stood up against the machine of our city government time and time again. Over the last 8 years, under the current council leadership, our property taxes have risen every year but one above the constant yield rate in an era of massive increased assessments. During that same time, city government hired an additional 13.62 full-time employees, nearly 3 per year, despite no growth in city population or increase in commercial tax base. Last year, this council again passed a budget in the red, with a deficit of nearly $7 million. Jarrett Smith was the only one to vote against it. As our mayor, he pledges that he will keep property taxes at or below the constant yield rate. In this, he is the only candidate to openly declare his commitment to fiscal responsibility. And Jarrett was also the only council member who openly advocated on behalf of a bunch of Ward 3 residents, not even in his ward, who had petitioned the city to fix an infrastructure problem caused by the city's improper installation of the alley entrance off of Boyd Avenue. This is a local issue that has remained repeatedly neglected for over 2 years with no answer, as our council member and our mayor continually drag their feet. I nominate Jarrett Smith for what he will do for all of us, for his citywide commitment to all our neighbors. He leads from the grassroots and is demonstrated by his actions, not his words, that he honors and serves the residents of Tacoma Park. I thank you.
Thank you. Additional seconds for the nomination of Jarrett Smith to be mayor of Tacoma Park. Mind the cords over here.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Wayne Sherwood, and I've lived on Grant Avenue in Ward 1 since 1991. Change. It's time to make some changes in Tacoma Park City government. I believe that Jarrett Smith can do this. This is why I am pleased to second Jarrett Smith's nomination for mayor. Jarrett Smith thinks of Tacoma Park as being a whole community. Jarrett Smith is concerned with the people who live in Tacoma Park and their needs. He will work to identify problems and opportunities that may exist throughout the city and recommend actions to be taken. He will invite more people into these kinds of conversations. We need leadership. We need a mayor who believes it is the responsibility of the mayor and city council to give policy directions to the city manager and then ensure that those policies are being implemented by requiring the city manager to make regular reports backed up by specific metrics, especially in the area of racial, ethnic, and economic equity. We need a mayor who will listen respectfully to what residents say at city council meetings. Residents who have taken the time to come out and deliver carefully prepared testimony deserve more than blank stares and bored looks followed by a 3-minute buzzer. The process of obtaining resident input to city council meetings needs to be changed and revitalized. It is now stale and ineffective. We need someone who will lead the city in thoughtful conversations about issues of social and economic justice, race and ethnicity, and the issues of immigrants, and develop trust. Tacoma Park should be welcoming to all people, but that will take work by all of us. There are issues that need to be discussed. We need someone who will target the city's economic assistance and home ownership programs to where they are needed the most, not favor large developers by giving them long-term exemptions from city property taxes. We need someone who will carefully monitor the costs of major city projects, such as the library. If costs seem to be getting out of hand, the mayor and city council should put the brakes on such costs and explore alternatives for developing learning networks throughout the neighborhoods of the city. This has not been done in the past. We need somebody who will take the recommendations of the Tacoma Park Reimagining Public Safety Task Force and identify top priorities for implementation, and then do those things. We need someone who will aggressively seek outside funding and professional talent from the nonprofit and for-profit organizations, churches, private businesses, universities, federal and state and county governments for programs that benefit neighborhoods, students, households, and businesses. There's a wealth of outstanding talent in this region. Let's draw upon that talent and put it to use. I believe that Jared Smith can and will bring these kinds of changes to the city of Tacoma Park, and therefore I'm very happy to second his nomination.
Thank you. Your timing is impeccable. Are there any other seconds for Jared Smith for mayor of Tacoma Park?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ambrose Agose. I live in Ward 6. I'm here tonight to support, to be the second Smith Jarrett as the mayor of Tacoma Park. So to me, family is the key. And Jarrett Smith actually is one guy who supports a lot of family. Jared Smith is able or was able to create, even if the city is not involved in school program, Jared Smith actually was able to create programs that support the children at school. That one is something that is very important for me. So in terms of housing and the rent stabilization, Jared Smith also is the one who support that program to stabilize the rent program. The other thing is I'm a business owner, and what can you do today without internet? So Jared Smith is the one who is supporting affordable and internet for everyone. So those things are reason why I decided to support Jared Smith as mayor. Thanks everyone. Jared Smith, good luck to you.
Are there any other seconds for the nomination of Jared Smith to be mayor? Hearing none, are there any additional nominations for mayor of Tacoma Park? Katie Staus on Zoom.
Hello, thank you so much. Hi, my name is Katie Stouts again. I'm happy to nominate Seth Grimes for mayor. I introduced myself when I seconded Yara Chibabu's nomination earlier for Ward 5, so I won't repeat about myself except to say that I've known and worked with Seth for 6 years as fellow members of Tacoma Park Mobilization's Equal Justice Committee and also Silver Spring Justice Coalition. And since I've known Seth, I have really admired his intensity, his hard work, and his passion for making things better in the world, but also in our local community, especially around justice issues and environmental issues. Starting with having been arrested with Seth at the White House when the federal government's Immigration and Customs Enforcement really began intensifying their longtime assaults on human rights. But he not only takes these public stands, but makes things personal. And I know he and his wife have quietly helped people in need, including sharing their home with new neighbors in Tacoma Park, required some love and some support as they settled in the US. And on those same lines, he's also been one of the most committed volunteers at Shepherd's Table for many years. He does that work consistently, while also being committed to the policy and equity components of that kind of work, with a strong focus on policy around housing justice. When it comes specifically to police reform, which is an issue I've worked on a lot over the years, for Montgomery County level, a lot of the people have been engaged, I know, in reforms in the city's police department. And it's been a community effort. I know a lot of people have contributed to, probably a lot of people in the room right now, where I know Seth has played a really critical role from the citizen side. He played a big role in initiating 3 of the reforms that have taken place, including his longtime efforts to close the city's K-9 unit, which finally occurred, as well as the effort to move code enforcement out of police into civilian control, and then also his efforts to support engaging mental health crisis responders, which is something we've been pushing for strongly at the county level, and I know there's been movement now at the city level as well. So I also admire Seth's policy advocacy work on environmental issues over the years. And yet again, living those out in his personal life. Anyone walking around or driving around or walking into Tacoma Park, using public transportation or walking to his destination, possibly more than anyone I know. Just another example where he is consistent and committed at the personal level and the public and policy level with a lot of integrity. Second to last point, I would be remiss if I didn't mention something I think Seth is best known for, at least among people I've worked with who we have loved working with Seth. It's his close attention to policy details, his focus on learning and making judgment based on facts and deep analysis, his understanding of county and state issues and how those link to the city level policy. I believe often that level of attention to detail and
Ms.
policy.
Strauss, your time is
Yes.
up. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, for all those reasons, I think you know where I was going with that. I'm proud to nominate Seth Grimes for mayor of Tacoma Park. Thank you. So much.
Thank you. Seth Grimes has been nominated for mayor of Tacoma Park. Is there a second? We have one, maybe Julie Tadeo on Zoom.
Yes. Hi. Can I start?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Julie Taddeo, and I live in Ward 2, and I'm happy to second the nomination for Seth Grimes for mayor. I've known Seth for about over a decade, and he was the one who taught me that local government and being involved in my community really could make a difference. I was fairly new to the town, and there were issues that I brought up to him as a council member, even though I wasn't living in his ward. And that's Seth. He listens to everybody. He sat down with me at my kitchen table, and we thought about the problem and how we could make it better. And we got involved working on environmental issues, and did that at the local level. I've worked with Seth at the county level and the state level about improving the environment, making safer, greener spaces for our kids. And because of that, he's responsible for legislation that became a model for other cities and states. So he's a champion for the environment. He's involved in causes that make this city a better place. I'm not a biker, but I admire his work with all of the bike share and how he's always on his bike. He lives what he believes in. Also 16-year-old voting, which really is a model to the nation because he gets our youth in Tacoma Park involved. And my teen just turned 16 and she can't wait to vote. And she'll be voting for Seth for mayor. So I just want to say that, as Katie was saying, Seth really listens. He listens to everybody and he examines an issue and he's just really thoughtful. The other thing about Seth is he loves this town. He's been a council member and he's been involved in all sorts of local issues from a variety of angles. And I think that he would serve this community so well. So I'd be really proud to vote for him. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other seconds for Seth Grimes for mayor? I see George Leventhal. His hand up. Are you seconding?
It's George Leventhal, resident of Piney Branch Road in Ward 1. I've been a Tacoma Park resident since 1985. Seth Grimes was our councilman in Ward 1, and he did a really good job. He was very communicative and responsive. He kept everybody informed about what was going on the council. And when I was on Montgomery County Council, I worked closely with Seth on a whole lot of initiatives. He's frequently in touch, very attentive to detail, as others have said. Two in particular I want to cite was the work that we did together to establish a commercial kitchen at the church at Tulip and Maple, which provides microenterprise opportunities for folks to start their own businesses in the food industry. And also, of course, very important, the banning of toxic pesticides used solely for cosmetic purposes on lawns, which was pioneered here in the city of Tacoma Park, and then which we enacted in Montgomery County, which was an important public health and environmental initiative. Since leaving the city council, Seth has remained extremely active at the county level, very knowledgeable relationships throughout county and state government, and I'm confident that he knows Tacoma Park very, very well, and he has the energy and the commitment to be an excellent mayor. I have a lot of friends here tonight speaking on behalf of other candidates, and I just want to, I know that all candidates will strive to keep it civil, and it's very, very important that people of good character step up to run for local office. So I just want to congratulate everyone who's putting their name in the contest tonight and those who've expressed their support for them.
Thank you. Are there any other seconds for the nomination of Seth Grimes to be mayor of Tacoma Park? Hearing none. Are there any other nominations for mayor of Tacoma Park? Oh my. Hearing none. Okay. Hi.
I'm here to ensure that Jared Smith be nominated for mayor of Tacoma Park.
He's already been nominated, and
But can I second it?
Sure, it's already been seconded, but yeah, go ahead.
I just want to express my most dearest. He's been very attentive to what we need on Maple Avenue. He's helped support the youth programs. He's been in our building and other buildings where he's reached out to different ethnics, blacks, Latinos. He served food during pandemic. His character is remarkable. I really like to consider him for mayor of Tacoma Park.
Thank you. Are there any other additional nominations for mayor of Tacoma Park? Hearing none. Do I hear a motion that nominations for mayor be closed? Yes. Second? Yes. All in favor of closing nominations for the office of mayor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Nominations for mayor are now closed. Mr. Bellows, would you please read the nominations? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. All right, beginning with City Council Ward 1, we had 3 nominations, Shayna Fulcher, Elizabeth Wallace, and Mark Sherman. City Council Ward 2, we had 2 nominations, Cindy Dybala and Robert Gu. City Council Ward 3, we had 3 nominations, Mimi Diaz, Randy Gibson, and Alexander Hayden. In City Council Ward 4, we had 1 nomination, Terry Siemens. In City Council Ward 5, we had 3 nominations, AJ Campbell, Kara Hanzek, and Yared Tababu. And in City Council Ward 6, we had 4 nominations. A lot of Democratic activity this year. This is great. Ambrose Agoze, Mike Moore, Jason Small, and Raju Charles. Finally, we had 3 nominations for the office of mayor, beginning with Delisha Searcy, Jared Smith, and Seth Grimes.
So without objection, yay.
Yeah, here we go. Well done.
Well done, Mr. Bellows. Without objection, these candidates' names will appear on the ballot for the November 8th city election unless they decline nomination in writing to the city clerk by close of business on Friday, October 16th, 2022, or if they fail to meet any of the requirements for having their name on the ballot.
I'm sorry, not October 16th. September 16th.
I'm just reading the script.
September 15th.
September 16th.
No,
Oh, that's
15th,
this
Friday. Yes.
Friday. Do it.
Thank you.
Declare yourself ineligible in 3 days. Before we adjourn, here are some brief announcements. That this election is completely separate from the state election going on the same day. Our election will be mainly by mail. All Tacoma Park registered voters will receive a ballot by mail, and ballots cannot be mailed out until after October something.
Oh,
9th.
October
9th, I remember that. Are there any other announcements? Thank you. Oh, yeah.
One here. Yep.
Hi, I'm Eric Bond. I'm here on behalf of Tacoma Radio, WOWDLP, and in coordination with City Clerk Jesse Carpenter and with Tacoma Park Television, we are planning a series of forums in October 10th, 17th, and 24th, Mondays. I've been in touch with some candidates already. If I have not been in touch with you, please reach out to me. Easy email address, talk@tacoma.com.
Great. Hi, Mr. Schultz, yes.
You mentioned mail-in voting. Suppose you want to vote in person. Is that even possible?
Yes, there is in person on election day.
Can you say where?
It'll be here here in the building, the main building here, as we normally have it, right here on the main floor, second floor.
I don't
Good
believe
question.
so,
I
are
don't
they?
believe, I think this will be the only location.
I don't think so.
Yes.
I don't think so.
There are also drop boxes, which are located in the police department lobby and also over at the recreation department, recreation
Given
center
the-
on New Hampshire
given the
Avenue.
number of candidates.
Yes.
And don't forget that there will be ranked order voting, given the number of candidates that we have. That's probably a good thing.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to add on to what he's saying. I did notice, I actually have spoken to a constituent who should have been in the know about this, and she too was confused about what is written on the website. I was confused having read it. It says mail-in only or something. I'm not looking at it right now, but if you could please take a look at that. What you just said and what is written there is quite confusing.
Okay.
Okay, well,
It's not clear that there is voting on election.
There is.
okay,
There
we'll
is.
make that clarification.
I'm sorry?
Can you repeat what you said about ranking?
Voting in city elections in Tacoma Park is ranked choice, what are they
Voting.
called? Ranked choice voting. So you get to pick your first choice, second choice, third choice, and if you're in Ward 6, fourth, fifth, and sixth choice.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not.
No, but the implications are that your choices matter beyond the first choice. So do consider every candidate and give everyone your full consideration. Your second and third choices will matter in these campaigns here where there are multiple candidates. So do give everyone full consideration.
You get the number of candidates minus one.
Yep.
We will be sure to bring it up at the Board of Elections, I promise.
Jesse, I know you can't really speak, but is there anything you'd like to add?
No, thank you.
Thanks, Jesse. There being no further business to come before this meeting, I will entertain a motion for adjournment. Motion. Is there a second? All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Thank you all for coming.
All right.
On behalf of all of us at the Board of Elections.
Yeah.